I am a senior UX designer working for Zava. I don't smoke, but I really try to help people stop smoking in the past. So a little bit about me before going into the topic. I used to work as lead UX designer for the digital campaign NHS Digital. I did this for a couple of years. Then I did other adventures in government for the Department of Education, and now I'm working again for healthcare, but this time private healthcare. And my superpower, because I knew what was going to happen, is to be a good UX designer, hope, and try to make life of people easier, destroying bugs that don't allow people to have a good experience on the web. So the point of today is how we tried in NHS Digital to change behaviors of people for good. And I'm going to introduce you the health campaigns and the main problem that we had, we were trying to solve. We didn't solve it like 100%, as I'm going to tell you straight away, because it's very difficult. And there is a starting point, the campaigns, and then all the way that, all the lessons that I learned, and I hope they can help you doing a better job of what I did in NHS Digital going forward. So I call this lesson the first line, the perception, looking for confirmation, the faceless data, and the gateway. And then I will wrap it up in a nice conclusion, I hope. So health campaigns, what is the main issue that we were trying to solve? There are many health problems in the world, in UK. Most of them are due of the way that we are living. Stress factors, the rushing, commuting. There is a ton of problems that every one of us has experienced in the past. One of the problems for the government, for the UK government, these data are a little bit old, but basically they do this survey every 5 or 6 years or so, so the next one is going to come soon, and the figure that you see here was supposed to rise. There are 7.4 billion a year that the NHS is spending trying to solve problems that are related to inactivity. This is according to Public Health England. There are a lot of long-term conditions that may be avoided, and they are not. And they cost a lot of money. And if you want to not only to talk about business, but to talk about human beings, like I like, usually they lead to the death of 1 out of 6 people. That is quite a lot if you think that is 1, 2, 3, 4. I stopped counting, so we'll never know. So it's avoidable. Easy. You think why we are living such a bad life? It will be easy for me to go outside there, present information to people, and make them click and change their behavior. Take nothing. So this is the campaign resource center from PHE. This is a website that's online. You can, if you work for a local authority, if you ever had anybody ever worked for a local authority, government, NHS, anything? No? Okay. Usually they send you to this website to download resources. And you can see, as you can see, there are plenty of health and information campaigns out there trying to change behavior in people. Some of them are very self-explanatory, like stay well this winter or smoke-free. Others are a little bit more tricky, like 1U, but makes sense when you think about it. There is only 1U, so take care. There is one that I really, really don't like. I can't get over it. So during the presentation, if I refer to Stoptober and you feel that I'm a little bit angry about that, it's mainly a joke, but does anybody here knows what Stoptober is? No, of course not. Can you guess what it is about? Stop smoking. Yeah, smoking. Yeah, it's about smoking. But yeah, it's not self-explanatory. So we wanted to go out there and basically tell to people, change. Yes, you can. It's easy. And it's not really easy to communicate to people. There is a starting point, and I call this this is the first things first. What is the most important things that we were thinking when we start this journey into telling people how to change their behavior? There was a lot of excitement in the room, I remember. We went talking with PHE, new team coming in, talking about all the campaigns. The excitement was so strong in the room that you could have cut it with a knife. And basically, the expectation were to take this old campaign and make it super cool, change the design. So the first thing that we start talking about was like, oh, we need to change all the behavior of how our website, mobile first. What do you think? What shall we use? Shall we put an accordion? And I don't like to be that person in the room, but sometimes if you are UX designer, you need to like crash. Wait a moment. Like, I understand that you want to start talking about design because I am a designer, but what about the content? And I keep saying, like, this is content first, because we need to be very careful in what we are going to say. I want to understand what is the goal of your campaign and how you mean to go outside there. And, like, Stoptober. Why is that October? Why should I stop smoking in October? Can I do that in another month? No? January? What is the campaign about? Oh, because we know from research that if you quit smoking for 28 days in a row, you are very likely to quit forever. 28 days, right. How many days October has? 31, yeah? So February, not every 4 years, but like most of the years. Why is not February? No, because somebody thought that Stoptober was very clever, basically. And how can you use this initial material to go outside and tell you can quit smoking, but only in October, so start straight away. If you miss it, not too bad. You cannot even find the website during the year because the website gets turned on only for October, the 1st of October. Okay. So the problem is that when you go, you talk with people and you try to change the behavior of any of you, if I come to you and say like, yeah, do you smoke? Wrong person. Anybody smoking here? Okay, if I come to you and say, stop smoking, it's bad, you're gonna die, are you gonna listen to me? Oh, yeah, thank you. Drop down. No, I need to wait my word, like I need to start talking. Maybe I should start talking about my problem first, and maybe to make you feel that nobody's perfect, there are many people like you. Maybe then I can present you some data and try to start, but it can't work like straight away, unless you are already in that mood that you want to quit smoking and maybe you want some help. So it's very difficult. And this is an example of what happened in one of our campaigns, Change for Life. And this is the first row, like make every line like the first line. The first impression is very important. When you start talking, you present yourself to somebody, just looking at the person, you can tell me, like, why this guy dressed like this is telling me to stop smoking? Like, is this a doctor? Is an expert? What is his experience? It's very difficult. If I don't start properly, you will not listen to me anymore. You know nothing. And this was the website when I started working on it, Change for Life. The aim is to start tackling the problem when you are a children. And so go to kids and tell them, like, this is bad, this is what you should do. But the real target of the website are the parents. It's quite confusing. But we start testing this page. This was in the home page. How our kids are eating too much. And I remember one of the users in particular, but many users, that saw this affirmation, and it sounded like somebody was accusing them, like, your kids are eating too much sugar. And some of the people were, what? My children? How dare you? It's not true. No, I'm careful. Why are you telling me this information? This website sucks. I don't want to hear anymore. So it was like throwing our message against a brick wall. Bang. Gone forever. Just because, and we didn't say your children, we said our kids, mine as well, but it didn't work. And it's because we didn't think about a very good rule that I found in the Hagakure, the book of Bushido, the rule book of samurai. It's quite good because even if it's ancient, you still have rules that you can apply in your everyday life. So to give a person an opinion, one must first judge well whether that person is of the disposition to receive it or not. And our duty as UX designer were to try to find out, to try to make that person in the good disposition to hear. So my suggestion to this point, the first line, is maybe try asking questions, not affirm something, like, do your kids eat too much sugar? No, okay, let's move to another subject. If you want to give this big reveal, this big information, that sometimes can hurt the feelings, we're going to touch that, build it up. talk about other things first. Don't go straight for it. Or you can give information indirectly, and we try to do that with a quiz that we put on the website. So instead of telling you your children are eating too much sugar, was a question. Guess how much sugar children are eating in average in UK. Oh, that's quite nice. And people really engage with that because we were not judging anymore. They were playing, and play is always nice to get new information. You quite remember them. Especially good to play with parents and children together, because children like to be better than the parents and try to beat them up, so it was very good. Perception. So the perceived risk versus the actual risk. This is like a very good point that I discovered. Basically, now in this very moment, everybody feels that it's really difficult to change. There is a lot of pain, I can't do this, it's too difficult, it's stressful. And I know that in the near future, you can tell me as much as you want, in the near future, you may die, you may develop all of this chronic condition, but it's far away, it's foggy. I can't see it. And it's at the moment where also you start developing empathy with the people, because it's very easy to go on the other side and say, okay, you are telling that it's too difficult, but you're just lazy. You don't want to do this. Like, you are not motivated enough. Like, other people can do, you can't. And all because you need to understand the situation of the people. You never judge why people take some choice. You help seeing different choices. You make them understand. It's difficult to judge people when you understand that bad foods are much cheaper than good food. And when you are like a single mother with 3 children struggling to get by the end of the month, the last of your problem is to try to find a fresh vegetable to MHS. You go to the nasty one in, I don't say any brand of any supermarket, like they're like almost rotten, but it's like reduced, oh mine. And then the children are like, I don't like vegetable. Of course, you don't like vegetable. Who likes to eat rotten vegetable? Nobody. So like, you need to understand why they are struggling. But at the same time, you should make it personal, and you should use the data from the user to trigger a change, because you need to understand what the problems are. And also, if possible, try to take that foggy element away. So try to say something that is pertinent now, here and now. This is the most important moment. Don't tell them that it's going to happen in the future. So we rework on this tool that is called Your Heart Age. You can use it. It's just 2 pages now because we cut it. It's very, very quick to do. And basically, you can check if your heart age is the same age of yourself, or if it's older because of the way you're living. And when you start putting the data down and seeing like, oh yes, I consume like 20 cigarettes per day. Is this what I do? Is this how much alcohol I drink? Then you start realizing more things about yourself that sometimes you push away. Looking for confirmation, this is the opinion of the peers is really, really important for everybody. And I try to summarize it in this crazy way, where I put me as a user in the center. And the colors are basically simulating the pain or the pleasure that I have in finding information. Sometimes pain is represented by color, when you try to explain how painful is something, like it's red, or it's green, it's orange. And of course, when we found similar opinion on the internet, we get endorphin, we get excited. So it's like having a like on your Facebook page. It's like achieving a challenge on Candy Crush. And you feel good because you did something right. When somebody tells you that you are wrong, studies demonstrate that the pain that we feel inside of us is exactly the same as being punched in the face. And nobody likes to be punched in the face, despite the fact that my boxing teacher keeps telling me, no, you will like it eventually. But I don't at the moment, it's red. So nobody goes out there to try to find that their opinion is wrong, basically. Sometimes even the professional experience is not considered good enough unless peers tell me, oh no, but I did what the doctor told me and it worked for me, so therefore it can work for you as well. And basically, when you start putting user stories around to try to trigger a behavior change, if you are lucky, the experience of the user that you're using as an example will match the end user, and that is quite lucky. and say, oh, it's exactly how I thought, so I can do this. Or most of the time would be like, no, I did this, that is different. You are wrong, but I'm not telling you you're wrong, I'm just telling you, this is my experience, and it worked for me. So maybe, if you try. So you need to explain why it didn't work. So my suggestions here are, try to find a lot of user stories, the more the better, even close to your audience, but also try to find the ones that are different, very different from the audience. And explain always what works and why. You need both positions to make a change. And this is an example from the Stoptober campaign in 2014 that didn't resonate very well with the public because they used testimonials that are famous persons. And the perception was they are rich, they can afford the best cure ever, they can afford private healthcare, they are not like me, they are telling me that they quit smoking. Of course they can. They have resources that I don't have. And so one of the things that we learned from that campaign was to revert back and go into the peer level, trying to find people that are similar to our audience. Next problem, the faceless data. Numbers are not people, but you need number to explain your position. You need the data. So the statistics are really good to prove a point, but they are not really good in create empathy. Because when you think about 20 people died because diabetes, they are not me. Who are they? I don't even know them. You need to put a face on that number if you want to create a behavioral change. You need to demonstrate that they are real people. So if I tell you that 2 out of 6 people are inactive, and I present you the classic infographic with little silhouette of men, they are by definition like just masks, like just shapes. If I start putting some data on them and I say, okay, these 2 people, one is a single mother, she earned only 30K a year, she got 3 children and she has diabetes, or the other is a senior citizen and he got cognitive disorder, he has no family, nobody to look after him. I think you feel already the difference. And you start shaping them in a different form. You see the people now. And again, if we are lucky, maybe you know somebody like them, maybe they are similar to you, and you start feeling the empathy that we want to achieve. So the suggestion at this point are you can use the data, but you need to support a storytelling. So you need to always link them to more. You need to go beyond the data itself. And you need to use real examples. Sometimes, of course, you can't. You need to create some personas. But you can tell, like, these are coming from real stories, and we sum them up. So this is an example from an NHS website where people with real problems are telling their stories in videos, and that is very effective. So the gateway. Sometimes you need to find a different entry point. So now I'm going to go a little bit more in detail with the Change for Life project, because also it sums it up a little bit, all the things that we did together to try to achieve the behavioral change. So we did a card sorting exercise, and for this example, we did a proper card sorting, so we have fun printing out all the information, all the everything that we had on the website at that very moment. We had activities, we have information, we have quizzes, we had recipes, and we present them to our users, and we ask them to group them together and to try to create a priority and a hierarchy, name them, and tell us what were the elements that they found more useful for themselves, for their experience. And so we came up with this idea for the homepage. It's still online. I'm glad for that. That is the Pinterest wall kind of idea, where we provide all the information in this card format, but we let the user decide how he wants to navigate them. And we found this consistency in, for instance, it's difficult to find healthy recipes, or I will cook healthy food if somebody can teach me how to do that. I'm really interested in that. So we start putting together personas with different stories based on the huge number of users we were interviewing. And we understood different patterns, different ideas. So for instance, Michele was the persona that is the more strong-minded. She had opinion. She knows already what's good for her children. Maybe some of the things that she believes are not correct. How do you get into her comfort zone? How do you get into her trust? But she liked the recipes. She would have come back to the website for the recipes. So that was a gateway, an entry point. We can capture her interest, demonstrate that we are doing a good job, demonstrate that we are giving her something interesting, and then tell, okay, now that you like us, we tell you more. What about these other things? Oh, there are other things in the website that you can use. One idea was like, do you want to have our chatbot to talk to you and tell you the next recipes? And by the way, do you want to play this game where we tell you how much sugar your children are having every day? Yeah, I know, it's like a very, very roundabout way to get inside. But this is what you need to do. You need to create this conversation with trust. Can't go straight to the point. Will never work. So we create this new navigation, basically. We took all the information that from our user testing we find out were important for some of the people. We create this very simplified view. And each user will have a different way to go through that. So Michele will come to the website just for the recipe and the activity for the children. She was not interested in the other things. But that was the point of interest where like, okay, now that we start creating this trust, can we change the behavior long terms? How long is it going to take? What can we do to do that? Okay, so this is about enough for Change for Life. This is Stoptober, and this is the other example of design that we came up with to try to make it more interesting. The idea was also to run Stoptober like every month of the year, not only for October. And the idea was this came from some user research where we understood that some of the people that are trying to quit smoking, sometime when they are feeling the urge to get another cigarette, they just want to have this big red button to press and say, okay, can you help me now? Because I'm going to do that. Can you tell me something that will make me stop now, not in October? So we try to make this more like user-friendly and put like a lot of user stories, each story using different tools, different experience. And the idea was for the user to get inside the website, hear all the stories, video, audio, and then decide what they would like to try to do, and maybe commit to try to quit smoking, and tell all the friends that they were going to do that, to don't be alone, and to find other people that could help them going through and change the behavior. So basically, this is putting everything that I say so far together, making one line very important, try to don't be judgmental, try to put all the user stories, as many examples as possible. If you need a roundabout way to talk with people, do it. Make more information available. Maybe create a chatbot or a different way to support them. This didn't went online just because of budget time problem, but was really appreciated by the users. That's it. So thank you for listening. This is my Twitter account. You can also see all the drawing that I do, different UX events. And if you connect with me, you can see the previous talk that I took the visual notes about. And one last thing, I'm going to do a fundraising next week. I'm going to raise money for the Team Cat for the Battersea Dog and Cat Home. Next Tuesday, the 27th, from 4 o'clock to 11 p.m., 4 p.m., 11 p.m., I'm going to play Skyrim for 6 hours straight to raise the fund. So if you want to join me in that adventure and donate, thank you.